Hello, family. Welcome once again. Today I want to tell us a lie that has been sold to us quite often, a lie that has been told to the young people, especially those joining campus. This lie has been sugar-coated and made to look like the truth, but in actual sense, it's a very big lie, a lie that worsens your situation, a lie that changes your situation for the worse. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you what the lie is. Then after that, I will tell you why it is a lie. And then I will tell you what the truth is and what you should do. Those are the four things I'm going to cover. But before I continue, I first want to make a disclaimer. The disclaimer is I am passionate about uncovering the lies that have been sold to the young people especially. I don't know everything, but I'm here to tell you what I have discovered. Maybe I have been sent ahead to make your way better. All right, what is the lie? This is the lie that your campus is about enjoying life, that you go to campus to enjoy life. Oh my God, what a lie. That is a disastrous lie. Do you know what they mean by enjoying life? They mean skipping classes, they mean sleeping over, they mean drinking around, partying, right now, just because they are doing exam, but you would find them in Wi-Fi strong areas. What are they doing? Drooling over pictures on social media, knowing who has broken up with who. That is what they call enjoying life. But why is that a lie? That's the next thing we are going to cover now. That is a lie because campus is a place you're supposed to distinguish yourself. Campus is a place you're supposed to make a difference. Campus is a place that you're supposed to be in order to get ready to face life. Remember, the person paying your tuition is just praying for your course to get done, and perhaps your course might be the one of 3 years, and they have already targeted that, okay, they have enrolled in 2025. By 2028, I will be relieved of paying. And here you are, not even trying to make yourself ready to face the world, but you're here enjoying life in quotes. Now, let me first give you some context. Africa, not to talk of Uganda, Africa is dominated by, actually 80% of Africa's economy is dominated by medium-sized and small-scale businesses. Why is that important? Okay, before I tell you why it is important, when you zero down to Uganda, 70%, this statistics is according to NSSF 2024, actually not 2024, 2025, 70% of Uganda's employees are employed in the private sector. Now, this is Uganda dominated, one, by small scale and medium-sized businesses, and number two, dominated by the private sector. So how do they employ? These people employ people who have demonstrated their competence. In other words, you should be really good at what you do for you to stand a chance to be employed. Now, I want you to just look at the numbers. Let's say you are doing law. Okay, let's say you are doing arts with education. Let's say you are in Chambogo University. How many of you are going to graduate in the same year? Okay, in Chambogo University, let's just say you're going to be 20K, 20,000 teachers graduated in Chambogo in 2025, for example. Now, what about in Makerere? Let's say Makerere is graduating 35,000. Let's go to another university. Now, let's say you are 50K, 50,000 who graduated in the same year, which means those are your contemporaries, those are your peers, those are the people whom you're going to compete for jobs with because you are at the same level. Now, remember, there are people ahead of you who are also still looking for jobs. Now, what is your probability of getting a job? It is 1 out of 50,000. What probability is that? What probability? Let's say you did also the same thing. You did the bare minimum, you did the average. Let's say you studied also, you attended lectures, and then you got a first class, you got a second class upper, you did average. What everyone else, what was expected of you, you did it, and then you graduated. your chances of getting a job are 1 out of 50,000. Tell me, how big is that probability? I can only see you coming back and joining the crowd to complain. Why? Because that is too much. That is too small a probability for you to get a job. Now, let's focus on you who was told to enjoy life, which means you never studied because you skipped classes. You kept on calling your course mates to register for you in coursework. You never attended discussions. You were never researching. You didn't attend classes. You didn't even know what was happening. You could read only 2 weeks to exam. When you saw the timetable is when you started reading, which means for you, you are not even an average. You were mediocre. In fact, you are empty. You are hollow. Now, when you come out, tell us, convince us, why should we employ you? A zombie. What do you have to offer? Remember, these are small scale industries that want somebody who has demonstrated their competence. They do not have the money to waste on somebody who is going to try to demonstrate their competence. No. Remember, private institutions, private sector is results driven. You produce results, you retain the job. You don't produce results, they employ somebody else. Now look at you. You are fresh from the university, but you're not only fresh, but also hollow because you never studied. You didn't do any research. Now, do you see why that is a lie? Because it will keep you closed. Now, remember, the person paying your tuition has thrown you to the world. Now you are here empty, hollow. You can't even get a job, and somebody who was paying your tuition has left you. What are you gonna do? Now, do you see why that is a trap? That is why it is a lie. You never go to campus to enjoy life. That is why it is a lie. Now, what should you do then at campus? This is what you should do at campus. You are supposed to distinguish yourself. Oh my God, I wish I could emphasize this enough. You're supposed to distinguish yourself at campus. How? You're supposed to study like crazy. If you're doing law, you should be working to understand the basics of law. You should be reading extra. You should be researching. Your social media pages should be about law. What is current in law? What is happening in law? So what are you doing by doing that? You will be trying to attach yourself to reality. Let me shock you that the books you're reading at campus were written in 1980, 1972. Even when you're doing your coursework, you're busy quoting. According to Sigmund, 1972. Now we are in 2025, you're quoting Sigmund of 1972. It means your mind is theoretically, and not only theoretically organized, you have theory of 50 years ago. Excuse you, we're in 2025, and very soon we shall be in 2026. So what does that mean? It means that's why you should open pages to follow how is law in 2025. What is the current status of law? You should be up to date. By that, you're trying to distinguish yourself. Remember, that is the goal. The goal is to distinguish yourself. So you go beyond reading. You go beyond studying. You go beyond what you're doing. You go beyond just reading for exam. Because you are preparing yourself to come and compete for the jobs that are available. And to compete, you should have an added advantage. You should distinguish yourself. Oh my God. So you don't sleep around. So that's what you do at campus. You distinguish yourself. Read extra, study, ask questions. Now, if you have an opportunity, your free time, you should be now going to volunteer. Any law firm nearby. If you're doing teaching, go to any nearby school. So long as you can afford the transport, or so long as it's near the university you're studying from, go and volunteer. So long as you're going there, what you're looking at is field experience. That is building your CV. If you're doing business, a business course, you should be going to a nearby business and trying things, learning and seeing what is happening. Do you know what you're doing? You're giving yourself field experience. So you'll be both having field experience and theory. You will be better than your comrades who will come out just having theory in their minds. Oh my God. That's what you do at campus. By then, you will be able to at least come out and compete. That's when you'll be able to distinguish yourself from 50,000 people who have the same grades, who went to the same universities with you, but you will have that added advantage. That is what you do at campus. Also, I want to remind you that the word enjoying life is relative. In fact, most people have misunderstood it. The people who wait for the weekend to enjoy life, for example, are those ones who don't love their jobs. If you're studying a wrong course at campus, That is why you are busy. But if you love the course you're doing, you will be studying more than, you will be studying extra, you will be reading about it, you'll be researching about it, you'll be watching videos about it because you're studying the course that you love. Why people don't want to attend lectures? Because they don't love the courses they're doing. One time I'm going to talk to us about how to choose the course that fits you, but that's a discussion for a different day. But today I want you to focus on that lie. Don't fall into the trap of that lie. If you are in your first year at campus, wake up and do what I'm telling you. This worked for me and still works for me. It was too difficult to distinguish myself, but when somebody told me that, guess what? It perfectly worked. It works. That's the principle. You distinguish yourself. I want you to look at the world's technological processes that are invented, that have been invented lately. Look at the communication. Look at WhatsApp. Facebook was invented by someone who was at the university. Google, the same thing. Larry Page and friends were in the university, PhD students. Okay, maybe at PhD level, but they were still students experimenting. What are you experimenting in your field at campus? Why are you doing that? To distinguish yourself. Don't forget that, because when you don't distinguish yourself, do you know what you're going to do after finishing? You come, we have graduated. Where are jobs? We have graduated. Do you know what will happen after that? You will join the crowd. This country, this economy, this. But the problem is you. In fact, I strongly believe the problem we have in Uganda is not lack of jobs. The problem we have is mediocrity. And you know the problem, even when you get a job, when you're mediocre, when you didn't study, do you know what will happen? You'll be an average, and you'll always do average work, and average work leads to average pay. And most of it all, when you're an average person, you are replaceable. Anytime you are replaceable. So please distinguish yourself at campus. That's what you should be busy doing, not sleeping around, not trying to post fake pictures. Some of you go to hotels and take pictures. You're wasting time. You should be researching. Your social media pages should be about your course, because your life depends on it. The more you distinguish yourself, the better chances you realize. I hope this was helpful. Thank you very much. See you soon. Cheers.